I like the blurred background. How'd you do that? It's pretty sweet.
Go to settings and then background. And
this is good. I hope he doesn't cut this. Hang on. I'm not even seeing settings. Oh, settings more maybe.
No,
background
just go to
and effects.
Mm-hmm. Blur.
Oh, I did it.
You did it.
Oh my God, that's so tits. That's so tits. Okay, you know what? Hey, welcome to Fake Philosophers, everybody. We are a minute and a half into just fucking gold. I'm gonna tell you. Y'all just better just sit back and you know, just smile, enjoy the weather, touch yourself, whatever you do when you listen to our podcast, because you know what, I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna go up there with the greatest hits. With me today, as always, shit, I'm already fucking it up, Danny. I'm sorry, I'm already fucking it up. Hi, Danny. Danny's with me today. How you doing?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mitch.
A quick question off the top. Well, I have a couple quick questions, but the first quick question off the top. Were you always Danny since conception, or were you Daniel and then chose to go as Danny at some point?
I was only Daniel if I was in trouble.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's usually Danny. My brother is the only one that calls me Daniel.
Was his name but he does Samuel and goes by Sammy and all that?
No, his name is Michael.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's the only one that really calls me Daniel. My sister calls me Danny. My dad called me Danny. My mom calls me Danny. Pretty much everybody calls me that. Okay, I tried Dan for a while. Hated it.
When was this?
This was when I got my first job. We had already had there were already two Daniels working there. One was Daniel, the other one was Danny. So it's like, hey, can we call you Dan? And I was like, ugh. Yeah, can I grow a pedophile mustache and I'll be Dan?
Where are you allowed to say where this was? Was this at Starbucks?
It was at a Fortune 500 coffee place.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All
right. And so like they would call me Dan. And I hated it. And then they were like, well, what's your middle name? I'm like, it's Ryan. And they're like, okay, we'll call you Dan Ryan. I'm like, that's not better.
That's way worse. What?
I was like, you can just call me Ryan if that works. And like, no, you're Dan Ryan. And I was like, God, this sucks. And then one of the shift supervisors there was like, look, I hate saying Dan Ryan. It's too many syllables, so I'm just going to call you D-Rye. And I was like, that works. That is fine.
D-Rye. That's rad. Okay, so this opens up another point. This is what I'm very passionate about. Which, I mean, find a point I'm not passionate about. But anyway, I won't say your last name on the air in case you're wanting to keep it quiet. But your last name as well is a first name. Can be considered is a first name. So now I just learned. I just put the dots together. All three of your names are first names.
Yeah. Same thing with my brother. Same thing with my dad.
Wow. How does that affect you emotionally? Like
the reaction you're having, it doesn't affect me in the least. It seems to have like people are like just mesmerized by it. And it's like it's three names. Yeah. And it's like it's not that it's like I'm jaded because of it. It's like I've never found like it's like like there's a bunch of people that have three names in their name. I don't get the fascination with it. It's fun. Like it's gotten to a point where like, oh my God, you had three first names. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And it's like I have to play along and be like, it's just I don't get why it's so fascinating to people.
See, the urge to just fuck with people and be like, oh, I never thought of that. Here I am, 30 blah, 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 years old. Never thought about that. Crazy just to fuck with me. Like when people tell me I look like celebrity or like, you know, like Sean Penn or Miles. I've been getting Miles Teller a lot, people, because like Top Gun Maverick came out. It's like, oh my God, you look like the dude in Top Gun. And I'll be like, oh shit. Oh, I guess so. Oh yeah. I'll either like play completely dumb, or the other day I was in a getting my. I might have said this on the podcast. I'm sorry if I did, but I was taking my company truck in to get the oil change and service and all that, and I'm sitting in the lobby of the mechanic's store, whatever it is, and they started playing Top Gun Maverick on. So there's Miles Teller on the screen, and I'm sitting there and like, you know, the other people in the store, and I'm looking at the screen like, oh, this whole thing, playing it up like it was me, you know, like just they're playing this. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. You know. So okay, well, Danny, Ryan, you know, 3 first names. That's pretty cool. The other quick question I had for you: when you pee, do you sit or stand?
I mean.
You had to think about it. You had to think about it. Okay. Well, it's not a trick question.
Okay. I resort to this mantra that I heard from Pedro Pascal. Not all pee-pee times are poo-poo times.
Oh, I love it already.
But all poo-poo times are pee-pee times.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think it might be my own fault, but anytime I ask someone a simply yes or no question, but it's pretty, like, extreme, they immediately assume it's a trick question and think I'm going to make a joke about it. So, you know.
No, there's like no trick question.
No,
I was just like, I was trying to flip it back to you and like be like, I do it standing on my hands, motherfucker. How do you do it?
It's not a yes or no question, bro. There's middle ground. Somewhere between sitting and standing, there's a middle ground.
Well, I'm gonna say, did you ever watch Star Trek TNG?
Oh yeah. The next generation, for those of you who know.
I sit on the toilet like Riker. That's what I do. I sit on it backwards.
I can't picture. I'd watched it, but I. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. So last weekend, my wife and I were visiting some friends, and the majority of the hangout time was, we stayed there for like 2 nights, so we were there for a while. And the majority of the hangout time was like down in their, like their bottom layer, which could be considered a basement, but really since it opens up into the backyard, it's really just the floor level. But the bathroom was on the 2nd floor. At one point, I went up to use the restroom, came back down, thought nothing of it. My wife told me after the fact, she's like, yeah, when you went up there and took a piss, everyone in the goddamn neighborhood heard it because you're 6'3", and when you pee, it's loud as fuck. And so so she's down there with all her friends, and they're like, oh yeah, we all heard you peeing because you're just loud as shit. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, and then I like mentioned the fact that, well, I mean, sometimes if I get up in the middle of the night, I always sit. Partly because of the noise, but mostly because I don't feel like turning on a light, and it's just easy aim. Because if I try to pee in the dark, it's just going to be a bad time.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, being a fellow tall guy, yeah, it's an issue, and I think not enough awareness is being brought to it. So I would like to announce the Foundation for Tall Peers, FTP.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a play on the Fake Philosophers, TFP.
For all those above average height, you know, that are the real guys who are suffering out there are the tall guys. You guys don't even know.
I'm gonna make a shirt that says, "I will not apologize for gravity."
I'm gonna make for tall guys. I'm gonna make a shirt that says, "It won't stay tucked in."
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's a tall guy problem. I literally talking about this morning with my wife because I was in my work clothes and I was leaving, and she, you know, my wife is works in costumes in theater, so her, like, most of her job is seeing how performers look in their costumes before they go on stage. So it's not uncommon for me to be getting ready for work, about to leave, and my wife says, "Your shirt's untucked in the back." And, you know, at this point, I'm like, oh, yeah, I just got to do it. But then this morning we had a whole conversation. It's like, yeah, well, I'm too tall. It doesn't stay tucked in. So that's just kind of a tall guy problem. I think that'd be a good shirt. I'd wear it. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah, peeing. So at the story continues. They were saying, oh, yeah, your husband pisses loud as shit. My wife's like, yeah, well, you know, you get used to it. And apparently one of her friends was saying, like, yeah, well, my husband would, like, most of the time will sit down when they pee. And they were, like, embarrassed to say it. And I'm like, I don't know. I think that's an evolutionary, you know, it's not like an advance, but it's more of just like an open-mindedness. If you pee sitting down most of the time as a guy, it's like, yeah, it makes more sense. Better aim, not as much splashy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to stand. Yeah. There's the stigma about, you know, making guys stand when, you know. Anyway.
I mean, does that mean, like, when you're in a public restroom, are you going to go into a stall and sit down on the stall?
Fuck no.
Right? No.
Absolutely
You're going to go to a urinal. You're going to feel, like, super embarrassed.
No, men really do have best of both worlds because we could stand and just go when we want to. You know, whether we're, like, you know, out in the middle of nowhere and you got to.
That's not exactly true. Because some of us, Mitch, are pee shy.
You get stage fright?
Oh, yeah. And it's like, but only sometimes. It's ridiculous. And it's like, I get most pee shy, like, when I really have to go.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, come on, dude, you were there a second ago. Just let it loose.
Are you pee shy when it's like a proximity thing? Like when there's another person within a certain amount of feet away from you? Or is it a observing thing, like someone might be able to see me, so I'm just cutting right off?
No, like, because, like, I go into a public restroom, I know that's the case. Like, I'm within eye shot of anybody.
Right.
I don't think it's a proximity thing. Okay, here's a story. A few weeks ago, we went to the Hollywood Bowl to see Ricky Gervais.
Fuck you.
I go into the bathroom, and there's a guy in there who's just a fucking chatty Cathy, man. And, like, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to avoid this guy, go all the way down to the end of the row.
Yeah.
And start peeing. And this guy, who hadn't started peeing yet, comes to the end of the row to start chatting me up. I'm like, bro, this is not the place for a conversation. I'm trying to do something shameful right now. Let me just get it done and get out of here.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, that's bad.
And, like, he was just like, yeah, I'm excited to see the show. I'm like, I'm not going to, I'm done. I'm out of here.
I mean, I was.
Didn't even get to pee.
Really? You just cut it off. You're like, nope.
I was just sitting there waiting. He comes up and he starts talking. I'm like, fuck.
Wow.
Well, I'm done.
Wow. Okay. Well,
my body was just like, shut down. We don't know how to respond to this. Shut down. We're done.
Yeah. I get stage fright sometimes, and it'd have to be those instances where you go into a public bathroom in the urinals. For those females who don't know what a urinal is, they're like wall-mounted piss reservoirs that, like, you just stand at and piss. Sometimes they put those in bathrooms and they don't put the privacy wall between the urinals. And I don't know what idiot didn't think that through, but it's not happening. Hey, Danny, you walk into a bathroom and you see 3 urinals. One guy's on the left one. Which urinal do you go to? The middle one or the right one? Far right. You always leave a urinal. You have buffer space. Even if there is a privacy wall, buffer. It's... And why? Because of stage fright. I don't know why.
Common courtesy. Like, the only instance where it's okay to go into, like, a middle urinal between 2 guys is when there's no other urinals.
Right. Yeah. And then even then, it's like you might check the stalls first.
Yeah, you might check the stalls. Yeah, exactly.
I sure should do. It's like,
I don't know if you...
No, going to a urinal directly next to another person
is
yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever gone into a public restroom that just had, like, the tub?
Oh yeah. And I want to say it was at Quake Stadium in Rancho.
Those are worst.
Those might be what cured my stage fright, like, because it's just a long trough and everyone stands at. There's no designated spot. There's just an opening, and you can kind of, like, you shoulder in, like, excuse me, hey, okay, let me whip it out here, and your eyes wander.
Because, like, you could stare straight ahead like a fucking robot. You could stare straight down and just be like, that's a lot of piss.
Yep.
Or you can look, oh, he's big, he's tiny.
Yep. Or if you're just like a 7-year-old going with the church group that bought a bulk of tickets at Quake Stadium, and you go to the bathroom and here's this trough full of dudes emptying all their domestic beer into this giant reservoir, and you look up to avoid the view, but you're 7 years old, so you're not that tall, and turns out there's not a lot there's not a lot of opportunity to avoid the gaze. So
yeah,
it's a rough time.
It's horrible. Like a few years ago, all the restrooms at Santa Monica beach were like that. I would not go to those bathrooms.
Just go in the water, right?
Yeah, you just go into the water. The world's toilet.
Where do you think all that water in the bathroom's going anyway? Where do you think that's going?
True.
It's going 20 feet to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was just curious. Like, the sitting, standing debate. Like, anytime it was like, oh man, I stand when I pee because I'm a man. Like, I don't know. I sit down all the time. It's great. Less mess, less noise.
I'm just like, who created that rule that guys have to stand up when they pee?
I think it was.
I just wanted to show off and be like, I'm different.
I think it was more of like a guys get to stand up when they pee. Like, hey, here's this extra bonus is that if we need to, we could also stand up if we have to. And then somehow it turned into that's what we do is we stand when we pee.
Well, I mean, chicks can do it. I've seen chicks do it.
I mean, okay. I haven't been to that website yet.
No, I mean like you're with your lady and you're out in the woods.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I won't mention any names.
Sitting down in a public toilet.
No, I've seen women do it in public, like hey, it's happening. It's like I'm sorry, I'm not waiting for the drive home. It's happening, and there's a little bit more effort involved, but they can do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll have one of these days we'll actually have a female on the show, and we'll get right into that.
We'll ask them. Yeah. Welcome to the show, by the way.
So, are you a stander or yeah? So before we jumped on today, we were discussing like what are we going to talk about? I'm like, see, I had the piss question ready. I was like loaded with that. I didn't want to like drop it because I wanted to surprise you with it. But the other question, Mike mentioned like we should talk about the song Imagine, which fuck that, I hate that song. The other topic they mentioned was astrology and whether or not it's real. Before we get into that, my opinion of it, Danny, what do you think of astrology, man? Are you first of all, what are you?
I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to gauge your reaction to see if you're going to be like, I fucking knew it. You know what I am because you know when my birthday is.
Yep.
Your birthday is like 3 days after mine, dude.
I know, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm a Capricorn.
Yep. See, I was going to say I knew it because I also am a Capricorn. So no, truly, I have no idea what the characteristics. There's people that get way into it that know all the characteristics and that's so whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know. Have you ever been judged because of your sign?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I have. But if I I'll tell you, if I was, I don't need that person in my life now. So
I mean that's fair. I don't know if I've been judged because of my sign, but I've been more what's the word, like reductionist. That kind of like, oh, that's such a such and such thing to say, or that's such a such and such characteristic. Like, all right, well, okay, well, it turns out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. It goes along with like that's a typical white guy thing to say, but.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, like
blue background.
From what blue screen of death. No, from what I understand, I think like Capricorns are like logical, introverted,
work focused is another one. Like they're very career focused. Yeah.
Yeah.
This weekend when we were staying with friends, we had one of the friends that was staying with us was very versed in the signs and what sign means particular tendencies and this and that, and I'm just trying to contain my eye rolling because I just really just don't believe it. And I think it's just kind of I think you could take the characteristics of any sign and apply it to other signs, and they're pretty interchangeable. And if you decorate a description of a characteristic well enough, you can make it apply to pretty much anyone. Mm-hmm. So I don't really buy into it much, but that's just me, and I'm very cynical about it. I also believe in a monotheistic God that created all and also created evil that he somehow needs to battle. Otherwise, but if he's all good, why did he create all evil and all that? So I'm willing to admit my beliefs are flawed.
Mitch, we all need a purpose.
Absolutely. Anyway, I had a rather cynical.
Because I was going to be like, Mitch, aren't you religious?
Yeah, I mean, no. Everyone needs to know themselves, right? I mean, and know the flaws that you know the flaws that people perceive. At least you don't have to admit to them, but you could at least acknowledge what people see.
Sure.
Anyway, but astrology, I had a rather cynical, kind of fucked up point of view on astrology, and I said it in the chat, and Danny asked me to keep it and mention it in the in this episode. So I've always believed that although astrology might not be fucked up because I don't believe your character derives from where the positions of the stars were when you were born. However, I do believe, and I've mentioned this in another episode, but I'll repeat it now. I believe that when I've said this before, this is true. This is a true opinion. When two people who might have kindred personalities and like-minded affection, aka a relationship, they may fall victim to the seasons, and they might like seasons better than the other, and the seasons might make them act in certain ways than the other. The example I would give is, let's say you very much love the end of the fall and beginning of winter season. Let's say November. Let's say you love just like Halloween, the fall, the beginning of the cool weather. Let's say you just like the cool weather, and you attract other people who kind of like that weather. And let's say, in mid-November, you start feeling frisky because it's the best kind of weather in the world, and you bang and you make a kid. So I'll ask you, Danny, those kind of people that kind of prefer the cold weather, it seems to me that they like the cold weather, so they might be a little bit more self-resilient, I guess, self-reliant, a little harder around the edges, maybe. What do you think? Think of the people that love the fall, love Halloween, love the cold weather, that kind of thing.
When I think of that, I think of basic bitches who order pumpkin spice lattes and wear Uggs, and they don't seem very self-resilient.
Right. Well, they're very much on themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say like two people of those type love each other, and they start banging in like mid-November, and they make a kid. So I did the math of what like 9 months later after that would look like. And you'd probably be born, what was it? July-ish, end of July. So if you banged in November, let's see, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, so in July, August. So people that might be more favorable to the colder weather, to the fall weather, the Halloween lifestyle, they're more reserved, they're more to themselves, they're more self-reliant, and then they have a kid. Now, people who are like that, who raise a kid, they, like you even said, the pumpkin spice basic shit, they're going to raise their kid to be very, follow your own dreams, be your own person, be artistic. Well, I just, because I'm, fuck it, I looked it up. This is the only example I looked up, so I'm happy to welcome challenges. If you're born in the end of July or beginning of August, anyone, you are a Leo. Leo is a zodiac sign. And I've Googled Leo, and I looked it up, and here are some strengths for Leo. Creative, passionate, generous, warm-hearted, cheerful, humorous. Leo likes theater, taking holidays, being admired, expensive things. For fuck's sake. So, I don't know. I mean, it seems more likely to me that people who are of kindred minds might raise a certain particular kind of fucking kid, and they decided to attribute that to the seasons rather than, no, you're just, that's the kind of person you are that raised that kind of kid.
Yeah.
And that is my cynical disapproval of astrology, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, and like it's funny because like a lot of those traits are learned traits.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah.
They're not inherent traits. They're learned.
Traits like creativeness is more of a fostered trait, right? But yeah, things like generosity, warm-heartedness, humorous, those are all things that you kind of like develop or are taught. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like I'm waiting for them to come out with like the the astrological sign, like have like the negative ones. It's like, oh, bigotry, racism, misogyny.
Republican. No, I don't know. Those fucking Tauruses, man. They're fucking Republican. No, I don't know. I don't know which one. You could do some like cross-examination of the signs versus politics, and I'm sure someone already has. I don't have the energy to Google that, but I've done enough Googling. But no, I mean, yeah, I've humored the astrology talk before, but I really can't get into it. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know enough about it, but when it comes to me, my disposition, my outlook, because I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm just gonna be like, yo, if you get something from it, great, do it, fine. It's just not for me. Don't bring it around me. Don't try to like push it on me. It's not gonna work. But for you, if it works, great, awesome, fine.
Damn it! You know what's
astrology?
You know what's Oh, hi, Frankie. You know what pisses me off more than anything right now is the fact that whoever is listening to this that does believe in astrology is 100% like, oh, this is such a Capricorn thing to say. Like, Capricorns just don't believe in astrology at all. It's such a Capricorn thing. God dang it. Like, whatever. See, by fighting it, we're proving them right.
There was a comedian. I don't know who it was, but he was talking about astrology, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to tell you what I am. I'm a Scorpio," and everybody's like, "Oh, I knew it! You put out that energy." He's like, "Oh yeah, really? I fucking lied.
I think I've seen that.
I lied because I'm a Gemini. I'm two-faced." And like, "Oh my god, I knew it!" It's like I fucking lied again. That's how full of shit this is.
I think I've seen that. It was like a podcast interview kind of thing, right? And like there's some people like around.
That,
yeah. Oh, it was the best thing ever. It's like, yeah, I lied again. He's like, oh, that's such a Virgo thing to lie about. Nope, I lied again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? Rather, yeah. I hate the horoscope thing where you read about it and it's like, okay, well. You could apply that to anyone. Those of you listening to astrology, read a different sign's horoscope and tell me that it's not applicable. It's like all those,
right?
It's like all those weird like characteristic tests or whatever that you find out they're all just kind of interchangeable. So and so really, you really just you don't prefer social, construct. You prefer to stick to yourself, and because you really are truly understood by yourself, and so that's why you prefer to kind of not be as social. You might get some energy from relating with people, but really you get your energy from being alone. You try to avoid anxious situations, and you do avoid conflict, and you try to look for a route that's most comfortable to you. Surprise, motherfucker! That's everybody. It's I don't know. Anyway, I had another point to make about that, but I can't remember. Oh, no, I remember. Have you heard of the characteristic, like the character tests? They're called the enneagrams. The enneagrams. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
They have it broken down to, I think, 10 personality types, like core personality types. The problem is they have this like pretty elaborate test about it. and I've taken this test before. And those of you listening,
like the IFJP personality types?
No. That's actually pretty good. I like that one. The introverted, extroverted.
And that,
Myers-Briggs, yeah. That one's pretty legit. This one, the Enneagrams, is along those lines, though. It bases it on real personality examination, real psychology kind of stuff. And they break it down. I think it's 10. It might be less of basic personality types. And their test is really elaborate. And because I took the test, and what it came back with for reading my personality, I thought at the time was interchangeable. It's like, of course, yeah, everyone's this way. And then I started reading the other personalities. I'm like, oh my God, people actually, so needless to say, I think it's pretty legit. So it's something to look into. The problem is there's a lot of people taking the Enneagrams test and applying it like a religion, like astrology, and being like, oh, that's such a 9 thing to say. Oh, well, here's the thing about the positive 6 personality is that, whatever, but it's really interesting.
It's like, oh, you're a personality 10. Well, we're not compatible, so no second date.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you heard any of that. I kind of froze out.
No, there were. You broke up a little bit, but I think I got the gist. It's the same kind of astrology bullshit kind of thing, but no, but there were some things when it described mine. I can't remember the number I was, and I'm sure one of the listeners is a good friend of mine who gave me the test, and she's screaming at the screen like, "You're a blank, and I can't remember. But anyway, there were certain things about that personality that I thought everyone had. Things like in my personality type, I find it hard to ask for help because I consider asking for help as burdening other people. It is my responsibility to do everything myself, and if I need help, I'm burdening other people. And I'm like, yeah, doesn't everyone think that way? And she's like, no, you fucking psycho. No. It's like, but little things like that. This is really interesting. Yeah. But Enneagrams, look it up. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to send it in the chat because it's hard to spell. ENNINNNIGRAMESSPH.
Stop sign.
Yeah. But you know what? Hey, you know what? That's all I got for tonight. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I wish I had more. The only stuff I got like that I like kind of want to talk about is like just like political stuff, and I don't know if I have the energy to go through it right now.
You know what? Mike and I were saying, and you too, we were all saying like, we got to keep it down to like a half-hour show because people don't want to listen. Let's be real. Like I wouldn't listen to an hour of myself. I have tried and I can't do it. But
yeah, I'm good.
All right. You know what? Danny boy, why don't you take us out there? Go ahead and take us out.
I think that was it, Mitch. Good job.
I stroked off a little bit there. It was good.
Jesus Christ.
Recording stopped. Stop recording. There we go.